here's learning target 3, so now we need to make our rubric
You
for...
changed it to learning target.
Shoot, I did. Save again. Go in again, open it. Okay, so now we want to do learning target number 1.
Save it as before we get started, so that we don't.
Save as this is going to be learning target number 1.
Because I sometimes do that and then I forget and then I just erase all my stuff.
Oh, did I already change this too?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go back in here again. What was the original
So
one?
it's, I can determine what is important in nonfiction / informational text.
Can determine what's important in non-fiction /
Informational text.
informational text. Okay, and that's 3.
Yes.
Okay. Now to go back to 1. So it's 3.1, target 1. I can read closely to understand what a nonfiction text really is. So to look at learning
Ask and
target
answer.
number 1, let's see what proficient is. This means I can
Ask and answer questions about a text.
about a text,
Answer questions using information from the text.
answer questions using information.
And Liz, I don't want to interrupt you guys. What are you working on today?
Today we are unpacking our Navigating Nonfiction unit, and we are going through the form to unpack, and we are now looking at what proficient looks like for each of the learning targets.
Perfect.
You erased it, but one of the things that my head's having just a little trouble with on that is if I've worked on the one you just erased, where I've taken 3/4 of 2/5 or whatever it
Okay.
was. So I'm showing that I always have to treat that as a whole, right? And my answer will be based on it. In the same, in a square,
Sure.
just because I know how my students think too, if I'm a little confused, it gets a little confusing to go from that being a whole number to that array being 3 1/3 and 4, a mixed number. Is there a way to?
I think probably selling it as dimensions helps a
Okay.
lot. I mean, you can also draw a picture of that. Okay, I need 3 1/2. So that means I'm going to have 1, 2, 3 1/2.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I'm going to have 4 1/3. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 1/3. Okay, now that's my piece of land.
Okay, that helps me.
Okay, and then I can stop and think, well, I know this is 4 whole, and I know this is 3 hill, and I can take that out in terms of thinking,
Okay.
building the blocks. My one concern about that is if we're talking about dimensions, this is linear measurement, and I'm drawing squares.
Right. Then we get confused with
Yeah,
area, yeah.
but I don't know that it works for a kid to go, okay, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3.
Right.
Yeah. So just use with caution. Okay. Okay, now one more possibility that a kid could use. 3 1/2 times 4 1/3. Can stack it. And then we can go 1/3 times 1/2 is a 1/6. 4 times 1/2 is 2. 4 times 3 is 12. Now, that worked out very nicely because of the numbers I picked. And I got very friendly with it. And it could have gone 3 1/2 times 4 1/3. Could have done this, 1/6 and 1. And then 4 times 1/2 is 2. So I don't have any whole numbers. 2. 4 times 3 is 12 plus 2 is 14. But keeping track that that's a 0, 0.6. Yikes. Much easier to go here. And actually what we did here is the exact same thing we did there, which is the exact same thing we did there. Okay? And that's potential possibility. Now, it gets kind of ugly when you do like 2/3 and 4/5 and that kind of mess.
We don't
It's
show them
potential.
that.
There might be kids who want to do that. though.
I wouldn't throw it out, yeah.
I
There
could
might
totally
want to be.
see somebody
They
in
do
my
it
class
like-
doing that.
I was gonna say, aren't there some kids who would really like that?
Yeah,
I kind of think so.
so, yep.
Yeah.
It's
I
exactly
would-
what I was thinking.
I would think if you had a student who has this understanding and moved to here, then you could just say, well, you know what? I could just do the same thing. What'd you do over there? You did a half times a third. Bang. Well, you did a third times 3. Oh. And then they probably catch on. It's no different from moving a kid who did this over to